how you started your freelance journey.
If I'm in a room, I have no hesitation to tell all of them that what I do. So you always have to keep selling yourself, right? If you're doing freelancing for somewhere, try to get his dependencies on. I built that relationship and I've created that dependency that will not go to anybody, guys.
नए स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो एज ए डिजाइनिंग में इस फील्ड में जो हम लोग हैं आना चाह रहे हैं.
नहीं, आई थिंक कोविड के बाद से अभी वो एडवाइस वाला सिस्टम बंद हो गया. सबने कैनवा खोला है. प्रीटी मच एवरीबॉडी आई नो.
हाउ डिफरेंट दैट फ्रीलांस और कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस.
आई थिंक प्रोसेस का ही डिफरेंस है. काम तो आप सेम ही करते हो. दैट इट इज नॉट अबाउट फ्रॉम वेयर यू कम फ्रॉम. इफ यू आर इन अ रूम एंड यू नो थिंग कि नहीं मुझे नहीं आता तो मैं नहीं बात करूँगा. आप जब तक स्टार्ट ही नहीं करोगे आपसे वो जानी.
लेट्स टॉक अबाउट सम ऑफ योर प्रोजेक्ट.
मैं ऐसे आदमी के साथ बैठा हुआ हूँ in movies like Animal, Son of Sardar. We're talking about the projects. I think I've done good amount of projects. Also, I keep involving my client into the process when I'm ready.
Let's talk about technology.
Mediocrity is always threatened by talent. I always think AI as a point of easeability.
कैसे अपने आप को अपडेट रखते हो नए नए टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ और नए नए डिजाइनिंग ट्रेंड के साथ.
I think when you work on corporate now, इतने drastic changes नहीं आते. At least I have not seen in entire 4-5 years.
हेलो एवरीवन, आज हमारे साथ है किशन तिवारी एंड ये एक डिज़ाइनर है एंड ही इज़ ऑल्सो माई फ्रेंड. हेलो किशन, वेलकम टू माई शो.
Thank you.
हाउ आर यू?
I'm good. I've been watching your show and trust me, it is nice.
थैंक यू सो मच. अपने बारे में बताओ कि अभी क्या चल रहा है.
बढ़िया चल रहा है. I just finished my masters. As you know, I think I've been a year senior to you. I finished my bachelor in 2022. Now I just finished my masters and I'm looking forward to some colleges where I can do PhD. That is what this is happening in my life as a student. Second, on a work aspect, I put up a paper to the company I've been working, and
एनी रीजन फॉर द पेपर?
I think a lot of time you just do something. What do you do? I mean, there's no specific reason. I don't know. Maybe the whole thought of that I've stuck up. Not to be very precise on this aspect, but yes, I have put up a paper here, and I'm also seeing possibilities in life. I can say that. But yeah, this is what we was.
प्लान आप करें.
Too many questions, dude. What is up with you? You tell me that.
So right now I am working as a VFX artist. I know. Yeah. अभी कुछ movies आ रहे, like I worked in Son of Sardar 2 and I also worked in animal movies and all 2 or 3 projects in lineup also. So let's begin from start. कि you finish your school in North and now you are in Bangalore. Tell me about that transition.
So there's a lot of shift happens, especially things are very different in North. And also because my schooling is in North, I always feel, at least with a school friend, आपके अंदर वो competitiveness नहीं है. You are not competing with them. Whereas every person I've met here in Bangalore, be it my work colleague or my college student, I mean friends, there's always feel of, I'm doing better or I could do better than you. Or even I get the same feel with them. But with school, definitely वो नहीं है. And दूसरा point, I think when I was in school, right, immaturity brings best out of you is what I have understood, because all the people I'm friend with, right, there has been no reason behind it, or it's just a genuine connect what I have with the people in school. And somewhere in college that could not happen. I could not have had that, the candid feeling of being friend with somebody. It has always been to a motive from my side or from the other side. This is what I can say change. So this change has nothing to do with North and South of the thing which you put up. But in North, I would say somewhere the college or a school have a different way of, putting things together. Whereas South, it is a little more precise. And one thing which I would say put up or additional I find in South, that I get a lot of different people. Like in my own class, I have people from, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, also Mumbai, Delhi. So that is something I didn't have when I was in school, because I had only people from one surrounding it. But in college, yes, because of the different demographies, it's a lot to learn in, definitely. And every different people have a different culture. So that's like a major difference what I have. How about you? You were in Mumbai. How was it for you from Bihar to Mumbai? Was it any difference which you felt?
Totally, the scenario is very different from that. I'm from Bihar. This is a very typical high school, and I finished at 12th only there, and after that मैं मुंबई आया. तो when I admission लिया Frameworks में, there is a institute called Frameworks 2.0, and वहाँ पे animation भी अच्छा सा course किया, and that's how I started from there. And
So one thing if I can ask, and that's something I would never say I've had that experience, but I've seen at least with few people I've noticed that when they come from, especially from a place of Bihar, and not that I'm being racist about it, but this, did you ever had a feeling of being outcast? Because people somehow people look down to you.
Right.
So have you had that experience?
So जो सराउंडिंग था ना मेरा कॉलेज में, द पीपल्स आर रियली नाइस, ओके, एंड वो ऐसा कभी फील नहीं होने दिया कि आई एम फ्रॉम डिफरेंट, बट इनसाइड मी वो थोड़ा फील होता है ना कि अगर लेट्स सी कि देयर इज अ 4-5 फ्रेंड यू आर सिटिंग देयर एंड दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मार्वल मूवीज, मैन एंड like all of things DC, but कि जब तक मैं बिहार में था ब्रो आई डिडंट सी द हॉलीवुड मूवी,
Okay.
ओके, और आई केम इन इंडस्ट्री बिकॉज मुझे कार्टून और ये सब चीज़ें मैं देखता था, तो मैं उस समय सोचता था यार ये कैसे बनता होगा, ओके, एंड उस समय तो मुझे ये भी पता कि ये उसका प्रोसेस क्या है. सो व्हेन आई केम हियर एंड सिट विद द फ्रेंड एंड चिलिंग आउट दैट एवरीवन टॉकिंग अबाउट और ये मार्वल का दिस कैरेक्टर एंड दिस कैरेक्टर, मुझे कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा क्या बोल रहे हैं लोग, बट मैं क्या किया फिर जब वो लोग लिखते थे ना, तो आई एम somehow I just he's talking like this, I'm okay, so Marvel, okay, DC, okay, Iron Man,
That's a nice thing.
हाँ, so I noted that and when I reach home ना तो उसको मैं सर्च कर रहा था कि DC क्या है, Marvel क्या है, okay, Marvel this is the company and making the film and films के बाद मैं अच्छा Iron Man क्या, okay, Iron Man movies है, फिर I start watching that movies and slowly then जब धीरे धीरे उनके साथ मैंने रहना चालू किया, वो इंग्लिश का वर्ड्स बार बार कान में आना चालू हुआ, फिर मूवीज़ देखना था, देन वी वर लाइक कि हाँ ओके नाउ आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग समथिंग, बट सो दैट्स द स्टार्ट पॉइंट एंड दिस इज़ रियली इंटरेस्टिंग एंड दे गाइज आर ऑल्सो रियली नाइस कि मतलब अगर मैं कुछ पूछा या कुछ ऐसा बोला तो दे आर कि हाँ ठीक है ऐसे होता है, ये होता है वो होता है, बट
So in this whole thing, I have this, and this I've told few of my classmates also, because eventually when you look at movies from a broader perspective, right? There are 100+ languages where movies are made.
Right.
So I've asked this question to one of the guy who was, I cannot say pretending to be. Maybe it is what his understanding is, that how is that one particular language movie, one particular character that makes you cool, right? Because somehow what you're saying, right, that you face issues, that people were talking about it, you talk about it, of course we have been to similar kind of colleges, and talking about maybe any super fictional movies, it's not just only to the movie, it's also the the technical aspect of it, which can be VFX or how have they done it, what new technology they're bringing. But that should not come from a point of arrogance, because this I've noticed from so many people, oh, you don't know this character, you're not cool. So this is something, because I have had a friend Biswas, and maybe how you have not been very familiar into the Hollywood movies, he has seen only very typical famous ones like Marvel and DC to an extent, and then he does not have that knowledge. But having a limited knowledge doesn't make you an outcast one. That is what I even told him, that this is not something you should be like, oh, मेरे को नहीं आता तो मैं नहीं बोलूँगा. It's okay. 100 अलग अलग भाषाओं की मूवी है, आप सारे कैरेक्टर तो नहीं जान सकते, right? And even in that scenario, if somebody tries to fit in, for example, I have 10 friends and they always talk about Marvel and I watch all the X-Men and everything, पूरा Marvel का history geography पढ़ लिया. फिर भी I'll be uncool if next person I'm meeting who is watching K-drama, because I don't know K-drama. So either I'm watching, correct, मैं या तो देख के fit in हूँ. So उससे अच्छा it should be like a generic acceptance कि ठीक है आपको नहीं आता, you learn about it and you get an interest and know that is fine. फिर आप जानते हो चीजें. And second thing, what you felt about language and everything, I think Viswas say I've had this discussion and I told him that it is not about from where you come from. If you are in a room and you know things, maybe not in the details or what they are talking about, you don't have to know everything, but if you know even maybe 10% of what they are talking, right, you'll always fit into the rest. Because how are you outcast? A, you don't understand what they're talking about. B, there's a language challenge. Chalo, language ka to you'll anyway outcome, you keep hearing something, you'll learn it, right?
One thing मैं point out करना चाहता हूँ कि लैंग्वेज, यू टॉक अबाउट लैंग्वेज एंड जब मैं स्टार्ट किया था तो मेरी बहुत फेस किया था लैंग्वेज को लेकर के. तो बहुत लोग हैं हमारे जैसे जो मतलब एक छोटे शहर से आते हैं, ठीक है, और दे फेस लैंग्वेज प्रॉब्लम. सो व्हाट योर पॉइंट ऑन दैट?
See, language on a logical term, it's a tool, how you communicate, right? A person who doesn't speak, who's deaf and dumb, use sign language and communicate with you. So I don't think that should be barrier for one. Also to maybe reach out to somebody. For example, again, I'll take Biswas' name. When he came and there were few faculties of us, who speaks English and used to go and talk to them. Some of them, they had actual problem because they used to not know Hindi and he used to have this thing that should I talk, should I not talk? But it's also the person who is facing the challenge should never limit कि नहीं मुझे नहीं आता तो मैं नहीं बात करूँगा. आप जब तक start ही नहीं करोगे आपसे होगा नहीं. And also as long as I think majorly what you and I are talking about is a English thing. Somehow for our field at least I feel it's very important because eventually when you see things at a larger scale you're gonna work. You're gonna work for someone or someone. So and most of the work conversations at least what I have had so far has been in English. So one should really try to learn. But even if you're not able to learn, the hesitation should not. कि मुझे ये नहीं आता है तो कैसे होगा. आप सुनो. And I think the best thing helps is like you keep listening songs or watching news or things. That just helps you with any language you at least want to well. Because in my college I've had French and maybe 3-4 semester what I've learned during that time I was pretty good at it. I was never like so clueless in the class when she's speaking even a basic sentence, how are you, I don't know. Maybe now I remember zero word of it, but when I paid attention and I heard that there was a famous song also, I don't recall the name, I used to listen to that song, I understand that. So it's important to know what I'm saying. It should also not be like why should I speak. You are in a place you should learn, and especially when it's gonna help you individually also, so you should learn.
Let's talk about your work.
काम के लिए मैंने ऑफिस में तो फिर काम की बात करेगा. ओके लेट्स टॉक.
तेरा कैसा जर्नी स्टार्ट हुआ, लाइक व्हेन यू स्टार्टेड वर्किंग और अभी तक की मतलब जो जर्नी रही एज अ डिज़ाइनर?
So it's a very interesting thing what I've had, and of course in my family it's like what I've always been told that in 12th you have to pick up what you're gonna do, like you have to decide you want to be a doctor, you take bio and everything.
तो सॉरी सॉरी इंटरप्ट, एक चीज़ मैं मेंशन करूँगा. अभी जैसे तूने डॉक्टर इंजीनियर जो मोस्टली यूपी एंड बिहार जितने भी लड़के वहाँ पे होते हैं, देयर इज 3-4 ऑप्शंस. ओके, डॉक्टर इंजीनियर और यूपीएससी एंड कोई गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में है.
Correct.
इज देयर एनी एक्सपीरियंस यू फेस?
I come across things with too much of logic, right? And I know where do I stand. So if I look at government job, because I've never even given a single entrance exam and all those things, but what I get to know, in fact, very recently I got to know that there's this IIT thing and everybody gets to do an IIT. And one of my niece is in that. And when I asked her how many people give exams, she said, I think around 7 lakh people. And how many does get
All over India.
1 to 2,000 people, something like that. I don't remember the exact figure. But then, do you have that self-assurance that you are above than 6,95,000 people?
Right.
If I have that confidence in me, I'll fight the word. No, I am that good in a study. I can crack it down. But if I don't have that confidence, I'll step back. I'll be very logical at that point that this is not something I can beat of thumb. Lakhs of students, because all of them are gonna do as much of hard work as I am doing that. If something sets me apart from that, I'll do it. If not, then I'll think of something where probably that is my thing, or I don't have that much of difficulty, because you always know where you stand, right? So one has to be aware about the options. And that is how my thing started, because when I finished my 10th exam and during the summer break, I had my cousins around and they asked me, Abhi tere ko kya karna hai? What do you want to do next? And I'm like, okay, it's a good thing, because whatever I decide now, it's gonna be my 12th stream, and then that's how life goes on. And I sat down, I did all the possible checklists I can do, maybe asking to somebody who's elder in family, or asking my faculties and my computer teacher also, in fact. And they did all the pro and cons of what is good, what is not good. And what I came across is there were two things I wanted to do. And one is funny, also journalist, and second was this. And I went to my brother and I always looked up to him. When I told him that I want to be a journalist, he was okay with it. When I discussed at a broader family, like journalist is not something maybe your thing. But then I was like, okay, not this, let's pick this up. And that's 10th and 11th, 12th, my mindset was not that, I want to do this, that. My mindset was post 12th, I have to do this. Let me start preparing. And that is how it also started, that, I started to learn softwares.
Right.
Not that what I use now, but whatever I had available that time, like I learned Corel Draw, PowerPoint, because school में what I'm learning, मैं basic ही सीख रहा हूँ. But उसके बाद मैंने थोड़ा time दिया. So I think self-aware होना is very important. And as early as you can be self-aware about yourself, that is much better for you. And that's how it started. And wait, for 10th हुआ, 12th हुआ, I got admission here in college. And then that's how it's going on, I can say. So how you got that interest, if I can ask you?
So अगर मैं अपने बारे में बताऊँ तो फर्स्ट आई रियली लाइक टू ड्रॉ. ठीक है, तो मैं स्कूल में था तो ऐसा कभी कंपटीशन हुआ ऐसा कुछ हुआ तो
So, one second, sorry to cut you. There's also a misconception that you have to be good in drawing when you want to get in this field. Because I've never been very good.
I'm not good on drawings. So आई वॉज इन गुड इन ड्राइंग एंड समथिंग, सो मैंने सोचा कि अभी क्लास लेते हैं कि बिकॉज आई वॉन्ट टू ग्रो ऑन दैट. सो मैंने क्लास लेना चालू किया. तो देर इज़ अ वन टीचर, तो ही सेड कि अगर तेरा ड्राइंग अच्छा है ना तो यू कैन ऑल्सो ट्राई एनिमेशन. ओके. सो बिफोर दैट एनिमेशन क्या होता है, DFS क्या होता है, मुझे कुछ भी नहीं पता. तो मैं घर गया और सर्च किया कि एनिमेशन क्या होता है. तो मुझे पता चला हाँ एनिमेशन में ये होता है, कैरेक्टर एनिमेट करते हैं, उसमें मूवीज़ ने है थियरी ऐसा है. फिर जैसे जैसे मैं रिसर्च किया, फिर उसके बारे में पढ़ना चालू किया, तो अंदर से एक इंटरेस्ट बिल्ड हुआ कि यार कर सकते हैं, बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है. फिर स्लोली स्लोली आई स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन दिस कि मतलब इससे सॉफ्टवेयर कौन सी यूज होते हैं, तो उसमें फोटोशॉप यूज हो रहा. मैंने चल फोटोशॉप सीख.
And when I like you were in 10th when you're
This time I'm in 11th class.
okay.
I was in
That's also good that you're aware. ये आप उस टाइम आप जान रहे हो कि आपको क्या करना है, तो आप एक चीज में इंटरेस्ट बढ़ा है.
तो उस समय क्या था ना कि जैसे मैं पटना में, जैसे मेरे जो फादर है वो पटना में उनके बिजनेस है, तो मैं पटना में नहीं ऐसा ढूंढा कि कोई कॉलेज यहीं पे है या इंस्टीट्यूट ऐसा है. तो वहाँ पे एक है, वहाँ पे था उसन एरिना करके. सो मैं वहाँ पे गया, दिस अ वेरी स्मॉल स्पेस एंड 4-5 pieces there. And
But what difference would it make if you are in an institute which is smaller or which is in the city?
no,
Like
difference is the teacher ना कि see what I believe, maybe I am wrong, I don't know, what I believe कि अगर आप एक ऐसे जगह पे हो, इन्वायरमेंट जो होता है ना, अपना सराउंडिंग इज मैटर. तो
yeah, surrounding does matter.
हाँ, बिकॉज कुछ समय वहाँ पे ना तो कोई VFX इंडस्ट्री है जहाँ ये लोग काम करते हैं, वहाँ पे ना तो ऐसा कुछ कंपनीज है जहाँ पे लोग काम कर रहे हैं. तो वहाँ की जो टीचर उनको 2-3 सॉफ्टवेयर आते हैं, बस सॉफ्टवेयर, एक सॉफ्टवेयर टूल्स और
Having the depth knowledge of
या हाँ, तो वो दोनों डिफरेंट होता है. तो ऐसा मुझे लगा, और ये भी बोल सकते हो कहते हैं कि मुझे वो चीज़ें सही नहीं लगी उस समय, तो ऐसे कि नहीं यार ये सही नहीं लगा.
young aiming mindset होता है कि just I want to go to a university.
और इसमें ना मेरा एक कज़न भाई है, वो एक्चुअली पुणे में कोर्स कर रहा था. हाँ, तो ही टोल्ड अबाउट एवरीथिंग कि हाँ ब्रो ऐसा है वैसा है, बट उसके जैसा वो बोल रहा था ना उसी हिसाब से वो सही नहीं दिखा मेरे को. मतलब नहीं यार ठीक, मज़ा नहीं आ रहा. तो मैंने वो छोड़ दिया. फिर बोला मैं कि ठीक है, ये चीज़ तो अभी मैं साथ में पूरा पैकेज नहीं ले सकता, बट मैं छोटे छोटे स्टेप्स क्या कर सकता हूँ. तो हाँ चल फोटोशॉप सीखते हैं. तो मैंने फोटोशॉप ढूंढा कि हाँ चल, तो बहुत वहाँ पे ऐसा एक छोटा सा इंस्टीट्यूट मिला जहाँ पे फोटोशॉप, दैट्स हाउ आई स्टार्टेड. ओके, तो फोटोशॉप सीखा. फिर भाई यहीं चाह जब
Sorry to cut you, man. Especially up, I don't know, have you ever been to a photo studio? Somehow the level of glow they give to your picture, I can still not do that. I don't know. I always see a person sitting and he's shot your picture. 2 minutes के अंदर you're like literally fair to the next level. I don't know. Maybe that's also a skills, bro.
Right,
Because
right.
knowing क्योंकि एक बार मैं गया and I went to a photo studio and I remember that his system was not working and I had my laptop like अब मेरे में कल नहीं, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा. मैं 2025 के फोटोशॉप में मेरे से नहीं होगा. मुझे चाहिए 2012 वाला वो I think what is the person CS or something it's called. Like मैं उसमें used to and उनका 4-5 शॉट
CS6 and
something like that 4-5 शॉट के थे, मैं उसमें बेस्ट करूंगा. So smaller place also have their own uniqueness definitely, man. Especially our DTP printers, they do super fast job.
Right.
Like since I am in corporate and the one request comes, there's पाइपलाइन प्रोसेसेस. वहाँ पे ऐसे होता ही है, आपको फोन आया कि अभी भैया का बर्थडे पोस्टर बनाओ एंड दैट पोस्टर हैज टू बी प्रिंटेड इन एन आवर एंड इट इज डन. सो that's a marvelous thing also.
So let's talk about design a little bit. Lot of time you worked on the design. According to you, what is design?
So design for me, I think एटलीस्ट मैं बहुत कॉर्पोरेट टर्म में बोलूँ
हाँ.
तो आप जो सोच रहे हो मैं वो आपको दिखा दूंगा कि आप
हाँ.
यही सोच रहे हो.
हाँ.
आप सोच रहे हो कि मेरे को एफिल टावर ऐसा चाहिए तो मैं डिजाइन करके दिखा दें. दैट इज अ सिंपल एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑन डिजाइन. इट कैन बी एंड बी वेरी फिलोसॉफिकल अबाउट इट एंड ऑल द अंडरस्टैंडिंग योर विजन एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स. बट आई थिंक it's just a thing that I know what you want. That is a design for me. And I know what you want. I don't know how you want. And that how is something I'm gonna figure it out. And that how would become the design. And I know what you want and how it needs to be done is something which I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna design that. Yes. That's like
I want to add one thing. कि like if I create something and I'm showing you, you understand कि क्या है. Like story behind it. और वो क्या बोल रहा है. You understand. It means your design is good. That's
good and bad is very subjective. Okay. आप डिजाइन में तो वो टर्म ला ही नहीं सकते. And ये this I also use as an escape a lot of time. Like imagine I send a design to client and he's like ये अच्छा है. Like अच्छा बुरा तो subjective है. आप डिलूलू में से है, ऐसे नहीं है. हाँ but ठीक है. What you're trying to convey through that message, if that is something I'm understanding by seeing it, I can call it a good design. Definitely I can call it a good design. and how good it is. For example, I hate brown color, and you're trying to sell something in brown color. I'll definitely not like.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that makes it a good or a bad design, right? So it's very subjective. So let's not go to a definite definition of it. But yeah, आप जो बेच रहे हो बिक के बिच गया, I think I'm fine. Once I'm sold, I'm sold.
तो अभी बात करते थे अब तेरा प्रोफेशनल करियर के बारे में कि हाउ यू स्टार्टेड योर जर्नी एज अ वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल.
So I started in, I guess, 2018. I started working as a product designer in my first company, and then I moved to a US-based company. There I worked as a designer, and then again I joined another company as a senior designer there. And I think this was a startup in Bangalore. And that's where, because I was also a senior designer there, I learned a lot of aspects of design, and I tried my hands on different things. And then I joined Gallivare, which is my current company, and the whole journey started, I think, was my first semester of my college, and I have had worked for an NGO, which is a Delhi-based NGO, and they have floated my CV to different companies. And one fine day, I got a call from this person that, we have a position open, and I'm very thankful to them also because that time they were looking for somebody to join full time, and I went there without any experience. All I have done previous to that is that I work for this NGO, and that too, they have different initiatives going on, and I used to just do basic posters and everything. As then I went to this company and I gave interview. He asked me that this, that, this, that. I said I've been very honest with them, and they somehow liked me. And because when I was also giving interview, their impression was that I'm ready to join full time. And then I told no, hi, I'm at college. So they gave me flexibility, a lot of flexibility in terms of working. They did it like 2 to 6. So that's how I started, and I was very young. I think my first organization, I was like 17. And I had people around. They were 50, 40, and in fact, it used to be an insider joke. Child labor kidhar hai apna? I've heard quite a few times. Like, there was this guy, I think Santosh or something. He keeps saying like, "Oh, child labor nahi aaya. Oh, child labor tha kya?" But the lot of professional things I learned there. Like, I remember one. I think second or third day, I wore like a torn jeans or something, and then my HR is calling me to KV. And when she called me, right? So she called Aisha. Aisha, there was a lady said to her, and then Aisha came to me that Madhu is calling you, and I didn't know that HR calling you can also be a bad thing. I was like, yeah, HR is calling, and it's like, Kishan, what were you wearing yesterday? I'm like, oh, okay, so that's it. Then, but yeah, it's a lot of learning, and a lot of corporate aspect I learned there apart from the skills, and the skills keeps enhancing. But and then I joined, the second company was a US company. Work style was very different, and then again when I became senior to this prior company, I had a very, very different experience, and multiple brands is what I was working. So it was quick job. And then when I came to Gallimer, it was more towards knowing the brand deeper, or how does an MNC work? How does an MNC functions? They have their strict guidelines, and you have to stick to that. And it's a very limit what you get. Like, your canvas comes with 1,000 limitation, and how are you being creative? That is something I've learned to this current company. So I think the varieties have also taught me different aspect to design. That's what I may like to say.
Let's talk about college or institutes in our field, BFX or designing pit. कॉलेज और इंस्टीट्यूट्स कितना मैटर करता है?
देख, मैं 50 कॉलेज में तो पढ़ा गया पर
नहीं, बट एक जनरल आइडिया.
हाँ, हाँ.
मतलब क्योंकि मैं भी अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करूँगा. यू ऑल्सो शेयर कि जब जिस कॉलेज में तू था, ओके, सो उस वहाँ से तेरा एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा? और बेसिकली अगर कोई नए जो स्टूडेंट है जो आना चाह रहे हैं, तो उनको क्या बेस्ट आइडिया रहेगा कि मतलब आइदर यू ज्वाइन कोई कॉलेज, ठीक है, और वो कोई शॉर्ट टर्म कोर्स लेकर के भी सीख सकते. तो
So when you talk about college, let me read one by one. College matters. It does, to be honest. But maybe first batch maybe had 60 people, and I think 20, 30, they actually switched to a bigger college. And pretty much I see them, knowing the same level of maybe little 90-20 kind of thing, which is fine. So it actually does not matter आप कौन से college and how expensive is your college. What it can help you with, because the bigger college, the bigger companies do come for placement.
Right.
बट देन अगेन जब मैं बैठ के मैथ करूँ, बिकॉज मेरी कॉलेज प्लेसमेंट नहीं है, आपको एट दिस जॉब मैं होल, बट कॉलेज प्लेसमेंट जो है ना, लाइक अब आई टेक 3-4 इन मैथ और जेन और आईफा, माई कॉलेज, आई थिंक द स्टार्टिंग CTC and all, even the companies pretty much are same, like, and majorly for your field, I think Framebox, no,
Yeah, Arena.
Tricolor or something like this. Similar line of company look comes to all of this college. So to be honest, doesn't matter if you're good. And second, I think आप अगर because आपको कॉलेज में tools सिखाया जाएगा. You'll know the shortcuts. You'll know the what does this. The creativity is something which you need to do on your own. So if you're good at creativity, I don't think it matters. And also the long term short term course, I think अभी things are very digitalized, तो वो आपकी certification भी उतने matter नहीं करते unless you have like a bigger goal, like wanna go do masters in other countries or something like that. You can do a short course, but I would also say that if you have time, like if you're in a age group of 18 to 20, 21, 22, give 3 years learning them. Have the college life also, because it shouldn't be you passed out your 12th, आपने एक साल का diploma करके start working, somewhere you'll miss the whole college fun also. So give 3 years if you have the age group. And it's also like few people I know have done BA or BVA or something and they've switched it by doing an year of diploma. That is also fine.
नए स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो एज ए डिज़ाइनिंग एज अ इस फील्ड में जो हम लोग हैं आना चाह रहे हैं
बहुत है यार, मत आओ। बहुत ही है, प्लीज डोंट कम।
so give me some advice for like how they select the college and how they start.
नहीं, आई थिंक कोविड के बाद से अभी वो एडवाइस वाला सिस्टम बंद हो गया। सबने कैनवा खोला है, प्रीटी मच एवरीबॉडी आई नो। इनफैक्ट आई नो समवन फ्रॉम इलाहाबाद, प्रयागराज। दिस गाय वाज इन he was in IT employee, I think Infosys or something, and then he told me मैं ऐसे freelance कर रहा हूँ छोटे मोटे। And then he called me, and when he started, right, he used to call me, मेरे को free pick का ये डाउनलोड करके दे दे, मेरे को इनऑटो का ये दे दे, क्योंकि मेरे से बन नहीं रहा। एंड 3-6 महीने बाद में मैंने जॉब छोड़ दी, मेरे को इससे अच्छा लगने लगा। तो अभी उधला तो वो है नहीं। हाँ, बट जब आप कॉलेज कर रहे हो तो there are different aspects also to select a college. One can be like a commute, that how close or far from your place, or how which city do you want. People also have preference for cities. So if you can afford, go to bigger cities. Definitely, it will give you a better surrounding, better connection. But if you can't, then do it. Tier 2 cities also have pretty. I mean, you talk about Framebox. We have Framebox in Tier 2 cities also. It is in Surat. It is also in Indore. If I'm not wrong. There's one big institute in Indore. I don't remember the name, but when I was seeing for my sister, this entire campus is dedicated to that. I don't know how good or bad it is, but it is there. So selection is only that, and review we will to mat jao, Google review, and that is fine. Huh, like what you did, you speak to someone who was in this field. That is a good thing. It's a smart thing. So if somebody can do that, like how you called me, or you message me that I want to do this, what is your? If you get somebody like me, maybe that's an exaggeration, but हाँ, आप reach out कर लो college के, so park करो, things are fine, you select it. That was a good approach. What do you think?
You did a lot of freelance and MNC कंपनी में तूने काम भी किया है, तो how different that freelance और MNC companies और for corporate office?
So freelance and MNCs, I think process का ही डिफरेंस है। काम तो आप सेम ही करते हो। Like freelance में ये है कि you can play a lot with creativity. You know, you can do this, you can do that. You can convince सामने वाले को ऐसा चाहिए। Whereas MNC में there is a proper process. आपको चीज़ें proper documented मिलेगी। When you do freelancing, you're not like, at least when I do freelancing as a designer, I'm not just a designer. I'm also a content writer because मेरे को लिखना भी पड़ेगा कि उन्होंने मुझे बोल दिया कि मुझे ये चाहिए, आप करो। मे बी आई एम ऑल्सो अ पब्लिशर बिकॉज मुझे पोस्ट करना पड़ेगा, मुझे कैप्शन लिखने पड़ेंगे। तो वो थोड़ा ऐसे वैराइटीज ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस आपको मिल जाता है। वेयर इज एमएनसी में आप एक सेट ऑफ थिंग्स करते हो। तो आई थिंक एमएनसी कुड बी गुड व्हेन आई एम एट दैट एज, जब जहाँ पे मैं हो गया हूँ 30-35 का, मुझे ऐसे ईजी लाइफ चाहिए, मेरे को नहीं रोज स्ट्रगल करना है। आई थिंक उस टाइम आई जॉइन अनदर एमएनसी, थोड़ा चिल रहूँगा। एमएनसी कैन कम विथ लॉट ऑफ बीइंग चिल, easy busy, I could say. But freelance is a difficult path, but it also helps you a lot with the connections what you make. There are two different good or bad of it, but yeah, this is what the difference I would say to you.
How you started your freelance journey?
Okay, so I started my freelance journey. I think I attended an event and I met someone there, and if I'm in a room, I have no hesitation to tell all of them that what I do. Because when you're a freelancer, you always have to keep selling yourself, right? Probably you can be a potential client to me tomorrow. You have become such a big thing and you need some design. If you know me, that's when you'll remember me. So what my intent is that I meet a person, I made him know one aspect of me, that I'm also a designer. And that is what I've been doing from the beginning of my career. Like everybody I meet, I pretty much tell them that, dude, I do this. If you ever need this, you just call me. And that is how I went to an event and I spoke to a few people, and one of them was like, that's nice, Kishan, good to hear it from. Pass down your number. If I ever need something, I'll just ping you. And then he called me after a month or something and he said, I'm starting a company. Would you be interested to do a logo? And I did a logo. and he happened to like it, and then he referred me to different places. So what I can tell probably that up if you're doing freelancing for somewhere, try to get his dependencies on you. Like there are some companies when I used to do freelancing, they need anything, even they need their PNG logo. I would that may be there in their mail that I've sent while doing the logo, but they would still call me because I built that relationship and I've created that dependency that will not go to anybody else, right? So that is very important that you're working for a client. You first of all in the beginning you give your best, not that later on आपको best नहीं देना है, but beginning में you give your best, and second keep them updated. Like when I was just doing static or I was just doing logo, I did logo, but the moment I'm learning After Effects and I'm learning as a motion thing, I also tell them that they call me कि मुझे posters I give you a motion graphic poster that can move. So is that they are also updated. If they ever need that, they'll reach out to you for that also. So it's very important. So that's how the whole thing became that I did for him, and then he referred me to a few people, and those people referred me to some other people, and somehow my friend and I, start of the career, we used to go to any random place, bro. We will always not you will eat of it. We happened to get to fly like this also. Like I remember there was this cafe which is very close to MD Road. And I went there like, dude, what is this design? We can do better. And this guy took it very seriously. He took our number, he gave that work. He paid us money and we used to go there and eat and chill also. So it's just that make connections, get work is all I can say.
तो सो तू कौन कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर यूज़ करता है फॉर योर डेली डिज़ाइनिंग पर्पस?
देख डिग्री मैंने ली तो आता तो मेरे को सब है थोड़ा थोड़ा, नॉट दैट आई
मोस्टली कॉमनली जो यूज़ करता है, राइट?
pretty much I use Adobe Suite.
हाँ.
But if I talk about my favorite software, it is Illustrator. मतलब I'm like damn lazy to even open Photoshop. Premiere Pro something I don't use. So I have like 80% dependencies or Illustrator, and there has been time when I have a simple object. मैं तो बैकग्राउंड निकालने भी फोटोशॉप में नहीं जाता हूँ, मैं इलस्ट्रेटर खोल के मैं सिंपल पेन टूल से मास्क करके कर लेता हूँ. सो probably the software I use the most would be Illustrator, and then of course Photoshop because a lot of time I need BLDs or I need to add some certain effect, and then I use After Effects because when you do motion and everything. So these three could be the prime software which I use, and then there are other software like XD at times I use, or Figma,
But sometimes you use
Maya, but majorly I use these three, and I do work also in certain thing. Even like if I have to do maybe anything which is pertaining to the print file also, or a magazine, I would not open XD, or sorry, I would not open InDesign and do. I will like still I'm creating 1,000 artboards in Illustrator, and that somehow is this software which I use the most.
Let's talk about some of your project and the process.
मैं ऐसे आदमी के साथ बैठा हुआ है in movies like Animal, Son of Sardar, and he wants to know about and maybe what to be honest, and he wants to know about my projects. But talking about the projects, I think I've done good amount of projects, and the process I have tried to simplify as much as I can do. And two things what I majorly do is keep a briefing call where I want to know head to toe कि आपको क्या चाहिए कैसे चाहिए. That is one. That's what I'm doing. I try to understand कि आपको क्या चाहिए in my first call with the client. And second, one process which have actually helped me is also I keep involving my client into the process when I'm ready. Even if you call me a small thing like a logo that you need a logo, पहले तो मैं ऐसे पूछूंगा कि आपके दिमाग में कुछ विजन है कलर को लेके, कोई ऐसा लोगो है जो आपको अच्छा लगता है, कोई ऐसा कलर है जो आपके दिमाग में है. If client have anything, it helps me to do it better. If client is coming with a blank canvas, then I'll of course put my creativity.
First you have to understand career vision.
Correct. That's what I try to understand. And second thing is like I keep him involved in the entire process. कि मैं ये color I'm thinking of it, but I'm doing like this, or I'm probably doing this. That's how probably I do the projects now. And clients, I think there are varieties of clients what I've worked, and each different client I work, it's a different experience. And there are odd requests also which have come. There are good requests also which have come. But that's how it has been going on so far, and it's going good, pretty good, man. There's nothing to complain about that, I'd say.
So let's talk about technology like AI and because nowadays AI is like booming na, everyone talking about AI is on social media, like everyone say AI, and many people are afraid about the AI also कि मतलब हमारी जॉब चली जाएगी और अगर सब AI करेगा तो मैं क्या करूँगा, और जो लोग ऑलरेडी डिज़ाइनर्स हैं वो क्या करेंगे. ओके, सो what your point?
I think the whole point of being scared, I've heard somebody very great, I don't remember the name. that mediocrity is always threatened by talent. So when you're mediocre at your work, obviously you'll always have fear of losing it, or maybe that project goes to somebody else, which is not with me. I'm at least assured of what I'm doing. That's something. I don't come from an insecure place. And for me, AI, at least personally for me, it has never been a place where I'm thinking this is that. I always think AI as a point of easeability for me. It's a big help for me. It probably, as much as my client is involved to a project, my AI is as well. And AI is as good as you're making a good user. Like it can be a blessing, man. Like imagine I have done a poster and I work for the TMT brands, and where I was asked to create a bridge which have a hand holding the bridge, and that hand is made out of cement. And for me to do that manipulation, it took me 2 to 3 days, because I don't have a reference for it. This is something I've asked to create because they wanted to so that the TMT is so strong and it can hold a heavier object like some bridge and everything. Now for me, it's I go to AI and I explain it, and it does generate. So nobody should get scared of it. It's just that you have to be aware about it. Like how depth of AI do you know? If you know that, it's blessing. Because what I've often been noticing, right? Even the smaller sorts. Like you remember one day we were walking and I showed you that this poster is made of AI, and that was for a very small shop, right? So everybody is taking use of it. It's just that how good use of it you're It's in Illustrator, it's in Photoshop, it's probably everywhere, whatever you do, right? Even Canva has AI. So it's AI is a blessing. For me, it's like I don't talk AI with software. I give full briefing. If client have spoken to me for 30 minutes, I'll give AI entire download of what I was to my time, and then it helps. It gives me, I would say, 80% of what result I'm expecting or what I'm probably thinking. And it's also very helpful in terms of knowing software. And I'll give you a very good example. I think when I started and I was using Illustrator, somehow you have this selection box tool which you can turn it off. You remember I was discussing this with you one day, and somehow that got turned off, and I was troubled because I'm in my office and my selection box is off. I cannot select this object. I cannot scale it. Right? What do? I uninstalled an ID software. I installed again because preference file was left in my system. It was coming back to the same setting. I went to my ID usual up laptop restart, but it didn't help me. And for me, back when to solve this problem, I need to go on YouTube and I need to search this, or I go to help page of Adobe and I search this, and then I have to read a big document. I have to watch an entire video because I don't know where exactly they would talk about this. Whereas now, even if I don't know how to frame a question, that my selection box is not getting highlighted or I'm not able to find selection box, I can just take a screenshot of this, put it on any of the AI tool, and it gives me an answer. And it is easy because when this problem occurred with me, it took me one day, like an entire day. I didn't do anything. Like I install again, try different version, but that problem was there. But now it is not the case. Like recently, I was rendering something in Maya, and I don't know how do I render with wireframe on. All I did, I took a screenshot that I want to take this render. I uploaded another reference from Google, and I put it that I want to do this. It gave me step by step guidelines. So it's helpful, and it's a blessing for all the people. And it's also where people come from a concern of layoff. Of course, that's a reality. Nobody can escape it. And it is, especially for designers, I would not say it is still in for writers and all, everything. But it's also every time a new technology comes, some people lose job and a new job also gets created. So,
What is your process of using it?
so as I told you, right, I get a briefing from my client. I give same briefing to AI. मुझे जो आप मेरे क्लाइंट ने बोला मैं सेम चीज़ बना करता हूँ, and then I get an output from it. For example, a client of mine said that I need a logo with 1,000 other things in that. I go to AI and I tell those 1,000 things to it. It may not create a logo, but it gives me a version which helps me think better of what I have been thinking out of it. So that is the process. And for me, I mean, of course, you cannot use AI for creativity. You cannot ask it to be as creative as you could be as a human, because AI itself start with artificial intelligence. But for me, it helps in a lot of technical aspect. Like I remember there was some file so I was working for a UK client and they use some other software for printing, and I don't know that software, and I was happened to just dealing with the client, and that client was going to the printer guy, and they needed some format, and they said that I sent EPS file and that was not working with them. And then I went to AI and I put that this they wanted to like do a letter kit or something, and I put on AI that they want this which all format I can send. AI literally give me a list of 8 to 9 different format, and I sent them an author. That guy was also in shock. Kishan, I don't need these many formats. I'm fine with this one. So I use AI like that. I use with a lot of tech aspect to that is what I use AI.
सो हर साल डिजाइनिंग का ट्रेंड चेंज होता है, ऑलमोस्ट कुछ ना कुछ कलर्स फॉन्ट समथिंग चेंज, और नई टेक्नोलॉजी आते हैं सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर पर या सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट हो रहा है, कैसे अपने आप को अपडेट रखते हो नए नए टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ और नए नए डिज़ाइनिंग ट्रेंड के साथ?
आई थिंक ये जो ट्रेंड वही का चेंज है जिसका क्लिक बेट फॉर ऑल द यूट्यूबर्स, मतलब वो और पैसे छानते हैं सो कि अभी ये नया ट्रेंड है.
नो बट हर साल मतलब कुछ कलर्स में
हाँ,
fonts में, हाँ.
so I'm coming to that is I think when you work on corporate now इतने drastic changes नहीं आते. At least I am not seeing in entire 4-5 years. There are of course minor changes which happens and people have to follow up with it. But the aspect and area which I work, it's all about, you know, companies have a certain set of guidelines. So every year there's a color of year, right? We don't adopt that because companies brand right. Every year there's a font which like most used font. We cannot do that. There's certain change which comes that is, you know, you of course include, but it does not have a drastic change, especially when you work for a bigger giant corporate. Whereas for a smaller thing, yes. And how do I keep myself updated? Of course, those are, you know, a famous designers को मैंने भी follow कर रखा है. I watch their page and my Pinterest feed giving me all these updates. So it's not a big of a task. You keep your Pinterest refreshing and you'll get all the new trends. So what I insane.
में 2 और 3 जो तू यूज़ करता है डिज़ाइनिंग आइडियाज़ के लिए, लाइक जो अभी डिज़ाइनिंग करता है या बेसिकली किसी को भी आइडियाज़ लेना है, तो 2 और 3 वेबसाइट्स जो लोग जहाँ पे जा के कुछ सर्च करके नहीं गेट द आइडिया कि किस टाइप का डिज़ाइन.
So मेरे लिए majorly I don't go to a website, but a lot of time now I don't do this, but what I used to do maybe a year back, I used to go on Instagram and search hashtag of it. Especially when I have to do logo or something. For example, I have to do a logo of 2 letters. So what I used to do is like for example, I have to create. Wait, I tell you, Vinit Kumar. I need to create a logo for V and K, and I tried 5 to 6 different options, and it was keep on going. My client was not approving. I went on Instagram and says hashtag V and VK logo, and I saw one guy. This person is from Pune. And I was like, I'm copying this logo. This person is never gonna know. But then I checked this guy's field. He's like a fabulous photographer. I mean, we have become friends also because first I copied and I thought I'll create and send to my client. But then I saw his feed and I just messaged him, hey dude, I wanted to create a logo with V and K. But then I really like the logo. I'm just copying it. But then I didn't do it. But majorly what you can do, you can go on Instagram and search hashtag of what you're looking for. That's first thing. Second, I go to Pinterest, which is commonly used. Dribble, Behance at times, but most of my work gets done with Pinterest. Yeah, and since AI have come in, I think Lexica I use a lot to just see what types of images people are generating, because nowadays pretty much AI generated images are being used everywhere. So for example, the different sets of like there's 3D image, there's a hyper realistic image, there's, you know, animated image. So what I do, I go on Lexica to find for different kind of images they are generating, take a screenshot of it, put it on any AI tool and get prompt of it, and then change that prompt as per my requirement. So these are few tools what I use. Basically, website I can suggest to get the best out of it. For me, a lot of people also use Dribble, 8 design or something like that. But for me, these 3-4 does all the job.
That makes sense. So हमने बहुत सारे सीरियस टॉपिक से
हाँ, मैं तो इतना सीरियस तो मैं मूवी नहीं बोल देखा मैंने तेरे से सीरियसली से ज्ञान चित बना हूँ मैं 1 घंटे से.
तो अभी बात करते हैं थोड़ा कुछ फन टॉपिक्स पे और कोई फायर करते हैं. फिर ये कुछ क्वेश्चंस मैंने प्रिपेयर किया कि टेस्ट टॉक और लेट्स डू इट. व्हाट इज द मोस्ट बिजार और हिलेरियस क्लाइंट रिक्वेस्ट यू हैव एवर रिसीव्ड?
हाँ, आई रिमेम्बर दिस. ओके, आई हैव टू आंसर फास्ट आल्सो ना. somebody call like ऐसा कुछ बना दो कि मेरा धंधा चल जाए. मतलब उसको पता ही नहीं सामने वाले भाई ऐसा कुछ बना दे मेरा धंधा चलता है. This is the most bizarre thing I've heard from my client probably.
सो अभी तेरे को जल्दी जल्दी बोलना पड़ेगा इस तरह रैपिड फायर. सो व्हाट्स कम फर्स्ट, कलर और टाइपोग्राफी?
Color,
फिग्मा और एडोबी?
Adobe, anytime.
कॉफ़ी एंड चायस?
Nothing. Chai. Not a coffee person. I think chai is true love.
मिडनाइट डेडलाइन और 9 PM पिच?
4 M pitch. I'm an early morning person. I like to do things in the morning. So 4 a.m. deadline and 4 a.m. pitch. I'm okay with both of the views.
ओके तो नेक्स्ट अगर तो डिज़ाइनर नहीं होता तो क्या कर रहा?
मैंने तो पहले ही बोला मेरे को जर्नलिस्ट बनना था, कजन्स ने बनने नहीं दिया। फिर अरे अगर मैं डिज़ाइनर नहीं करता, क्योंकि मैंने एक एविएशन कॉलेज के लिए काम करा था। एंड दिस गाय ऑल्सो टोल्ड मी, बिकॉज जब मेरी कॉल वॉल होती थी कि किसी ने एविएशन में मेरा बहुत इंटरेस्ट आ गया था, तो आई वॉज ऑल्सो थिंकिंग कि मैं भी ऐसे पीस वीस में जाके अगर मैं करियर से बहुत बोर हो गया तो बी अ प्राइवेट पायलट, सो आई प्रॉब्ली बी अ पायलट, विच इज अ फार फिस्ट थिंग नॉट हैपनिंग, बट या आई एम हैप्पी विद दिस फील्ड, सो हैवंट थॉट ऑफ अ बैकअप प्लान.
One Indian brand with pillar design.
There are many off lately which have been coming recently, but if I have to go for what? Yoga Var, I really like their design.
Okay.
And also Swiggy and Zomato. Sorry to adding that, but Swiggy and Zomato do killer design, man.
Sans serif or serif?
Both, but mostly sans serif.
Okay. Design in Hindi or English?
Hindi, because it has not been explored, and there are endless possibilities, especially with the font. It's a killer game altogether.
Okay. Overused font that should be retired.
Maybe Poppin. Everybody use that. Even I do.
Best Indian logo ever made.
There are many. Probably I don't know if you've seen SBI वाला me. SBI का logo है, lunch box का symbol बना है. So SBI and also Amul, and especially not the logo but the creativity they have with the mascot, and they keep launching a different campaign. So it would be Amul and SBI maybe.
Okay, next print media or digital?
I think digital is wild, but print media, I'll tell you why. Because I worked on some event collateral, and when I go there and see my design printed, trust me, it's a whole new feeling. So print media maybe.
Okay. If color palette were food, what is your best butter chicken?
I'm vegetarian, bro. Butter chicken. But maybe earthy tune and more any of vegan food like light ghee or something like that.
Okay. One advice to desi client in 2 words.
दो देता हूँ. लोगो बड़ा मत करो और डिजाइनर को ट्रस्ट करो. Very important.
Okay. So rapid fire खत्म हो गया. And just in the podcast. So okay. हम लोगों ने बहुत सारे बातें की and everything we talk about you and your profession and everything. Now let's talk about your future. What is your next goal and plan?
You never know what future goals for you, and trust me, I'm little unsure about a lot of things, but there are few things also which I'm definitely thinking. One is I don't know how familiar are you with the site which gives you resources like vector, PhDs and all, and I don't see a lot of alternate for it. For example, FreePay, I don't see there are many alternate to that, and even if you have alternate, those are not Indianized, or those are not available for all the cultural festivals we have. So probably I want to build a platform which have more of a regional design templates available for designers. Though with AI, it is not much needed, but somehow I find there's a bigger gap. And second, because I've been working from a very long time, and a lot of my designs is something which I can put on the platform. So I'm thinking to probably prepare a platform which have the graphics, ready to use graphics for specific reason and specific festivals. Like if I give you an example, Bihu is because when I designed something I was designing something for Bihu, and I didn't had many templates around that. So likewise, I want to maybe target one particular area with all the festival they have and make the templates for that. So that is one thing which I'm thinking. And second, since I have good amount of interest in fashion and everything, I do have plan to launch a t-shirt brand. Which every second person is doing resale, but yeah, this is also one of the plan. I want to do that. I don't know how sooner or later I'm doing it, but these two are the things which I'll definitely do, not today and tomorrow. But like, see, this is what the life is if I talk about work. And personally, I think the plan is to travel a lot. I think that's one of the skills which I have developed recently.
Traveling.
Yeah. Not that I always used to like, even the more I travel, the more I like this. And eventually I was to not like solo travel, but since I don't have a lot of companies to go around, I have developed liking for that also. So the next goal is also to travel a lot. Maybe go to another 4-5 countries or explore India also thoroughly, because इंडिया में बहुत है ब्रो, और मैंने बहुत ही कम देखा है, मुझे पूरा देखना है. सो यही कुछ प्लान्स हैं.